Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 30th of May for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the standout issues and strands to look out for. Please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the 12 zodiac sign forecasts. Now this week of course begins with a new moon in Gemini. Now, Gemini energy is all about how we think. It's very nimble and agile, can be very amusing, very much to do with sharing ideas and interacting in a bright and bubbly way. But of course, the moon is very much how we feel about things, and the sign of Gemini is very much more about how we assess things from a more logical viewpoint. So one of the things that we can do over the next month is to meld our drive and our ideas much more closely to how we actually feel. So it's an opportunity for sure. Now, this is also a week when Mars and Jupiter continue to be very closely together. The exact conjunction actually happened as last week came to a close. So that combination can give us a lot of thrust, a lot of traction, a lot of enthusiasm in the sign of Aries. That's very much about getting things off the ground. But both the position of Mars and Jupiter are forging a relatively positive angle to Venus, which of course has now returned to the sign of Taurus, which it governs. So that thrust and the ideas energy that the new moon has given us in Gemini can certainly see us working towards making the most of our resources, which Venus in Taurus can be very good at grappling with. It can also give us an appreciation of good food and good wine and more sensual pleasures as well. But then on Friday, Mercury ends its retrograde, also in the sign of Taurus. So, we've all being challenged by this new financial reality which is kicking in, and it has been retrograde since the 10th of May and in the sign of Taurus since the 23rd of May. But then on Saturday, Mercury comes out of shadow, but also Saturn goes into a retrograde in the sign of the people, the collective, the sign of Aquarius. So it's possible through to the 23rd of October that we're going to be more mindful, I think, over a period of time of how connected we are to one another. I'm going to do a special on the fact that Saturn and Uranus are going to go through a square again within 3 degrees from the 11th of August. So please look out for that. But the other thing to tell you is that Mercury, despite that retrograde, is actually in a very subtle but powerful link to Neptune. So one of the things that we can do this week is listen to our hunches, because they can serve us very well indeed. So Leo, your week commencing the 30th of May forecast obviously is going to embrace the might of that beautiful new moon in Gemini, because that's all about your social sector. It's about where you can connect and network. It can be about friendships, but it can also be about longer term plans. And of course, with the vibrancy of Mars and Jupiter in your 9th house of exploration and adventure, if you can book a holiday with a group of friends or get out together, there can be a real sense of enthusiasm about that. But with Mercury ending the retrograde in your sector of work and worldly interaction, if there has been a delay hearing back about an interview or a presentation or something that's felt a bit sluggish, if you've got your own business, I think once that goes forwards towards the end of this week, that is going to be something you celebrate. But despite the retrograde, Mercury is in a wonderful angle to Neptune. So your instincts can still be very important to guide progress. But Saturn's retrograde at the end of this week suggests that through to the 23rd of October, your relationship sector will require some attention. But that attention can be very positive. You know, Saturn has a reputation of being very dark, and it can, of course, be very much about boundaries and limitations. But also, it can help us to think about where we can make improvements. And then, when we invest the energy, the efforts that we invest can then be rewarded. So, if you're single, somebody could come into your world who's a very serious player, you know, someone who's going to be really meaningful. But of course, if there are some weak relationships in your world, this is an opportunity to try to improve them, or to think, have you done all you can, and is there one that is going to make way over these next 4 or 5 months?